Before the Flood, The Fall of Atlantis, by Matson. Interlude 2, Mockery of the Gods Redux. The torchlight in the Hall of Distant Thrones burned with unnatural vigor, each brazier forged from bronze wide enough to roast an entire ox and tall as a grown man. Flames the color of molten gold clawed at the vaulted ceiling, casting long, writhing shadows that danced across walls of polished limestone quarried in the days when Adam's children first walked the earth. The air was thick, almost unbreathable, a choking miasma of myrrh, frankincense, spikenard, roasted meats dripping with fat, fermented date wine, and the sharp copper tang of fresh human blood. Thousands of slaves, painted priests, and trembling noble families moved through the outer chambers like ghosts, their foreheads pressed to the cold marble whenever one of the 6 living gods passed by. Some would not rise again. Their lives were the price of divine amusement. Inside the grand hall itself, 6 Nephilim reclined upon thrones, hewn from single blocks of black granite, veined with quartz that sparkled like captured stars. None stood shorter than 12 feet, and their bodies carried the visible scars of the blood covenants their ancestors had sealed with the fallen watchers on Mount Hermon centuries earlier. Flesh twisted by power, bone warped by insatiable hunger, spirit slowly devoured by Rav's eternal famine. Each invocation of their gifts deepened the corruption, exactly as the orders of Moach, Guf, and Ruach had foretold long ago. Amun-Ra, the Devourer, dominated the center. His golden skin gleamed with the deep, burnished hue of desert sand at noon, yet it was marred by jagged crystal growths that protruded from his shoulders and spine like living jewelry. These crystals pulsed with stolen lightning, occasionally arcing small bolts that scorched the granite beneath him and filled the air with the sharp scent of ozone. His right arm, grotesquely thickened by generations of altering invocations from the Order of Guf, ended not in a hand, but in a cluster of obsidian claws that clicked rhythmically against the arm of his throne, carving shallow grooves with every idle motion. To his right lounged Setek, the Stormbreaker. Patches of his skin had transformed into living malachite scales through corrupted geomancy, shimmering with an inner green fire. Lightning scars, souvenirs of countless gigamancy rituals, crawled across his barrel chest like rivers mapped in fire. He toyed with a goblet carved from a single block of lapis lazuli, large enough to hold the blood of 3 men, swirling a mixture of fermented date wine and the still warm blood of that evening's sacrifices. Horus, the far-seeing, tilted his head in perpetual calculation. A patch of beaten gold covered one eye, while the other, enlarged and split into dozens of multifaceted lenses by advanced pharmacia rituals, gleamed with unnatural insect-like perception. Feathered remnants of wings he had once manifested through altering now jutted uselessly from his shoulder blades, molting black feathers that drifted lazily to the polished floor whenever he shifted. Isis Tefnut, the only female among them, moved with predatory, liquid grace. Her body was a living masterpiece of blended horrors, skin smooth and seductive as river silt across her face and torso, yet rippling with living water just beneath the surface where aquamancy had fused inseparably with her flesh. Constant droplets fell from her fingertips, hissing and steaming where they touched the hot stone. Thoth Machshava, the intellectual heart of the gathering, hunched forward slightly. His elongated skull bulged grotesquely with pharmacia-enhanced intellect, blue veins mapping across his temples like rivers threatening to burst their banks. He scribbled furiously on a massive clay tablet with a stylus fashioned from a human femur, his mind racing through layers of hidden dimensional mathematics that normal humans could never comprehend. Fleeting hallucinations flickered at the corners of his vision, eroding his sanity one invocation at a time. At the far end, Sobek the Flesh-Eater completed the circle. Most monstrous of all, he grinned with a permanent crocodile jaw that had replaced his lower face years ago through unchecked altering. Rows of razor teeth gleamed wetly in the torchlight. His body was half covered in thick, armored scales. His legs had fused into a powerful, muscular tail that coiled and uncoiled restlessly beneath his throne. The stench of river mud and decaying flesh clung to him like a second skin. Amun-Ra lifted one obsidian claw, and the hall fell into expectant silence. Outside, the chanting of worshippers dimmed as the great cedar doors boomed shut. "Brothers and sister," Amun-Ra rumbled, voice deep enough to vibrate the marrow in lesser bones. "Our distant cousin in the Western Isles has outdone himself this time. Dung, the runt. The Danaoi fools in Tanaju call him Poseidon. His little tournament has produced sport beyond our wildest expectations." Laughter erupted, rolling, thunderous, cruel. Sobek's massive jaws clacked together in delight, spraying flecks of saliva that sizzled upon contact with the nearest brazier. Horus leaned forward, his multifaceted eye whirring and clicking. Play the visions again, especially the dog's final battle in Ring 7. A trembling slave priest activated the great scrying orb suspended in the center of the hall. Living light bloomed, projecting massive illusions above the feasting table. The final moments of the Battle of the Rings replayed in vivid, bloody detail. Leon soaring on wings of blue flame, his devastating strikes against Gorgothon, the petrifying king crumbling into rubble. Then the brutal twist, the two surviving companions forced to fight to the death. Stelios mercy-killing the scholar Lysandros before taking his own life so Leon could claim the throne alone. The giants roared with fresh, delighted laughter. "By the Watchers!" Amun-Ra boomed, his crystal growths flaring brighter. "The dog actually won a ring! A Guff bloodline user who calls his watcher Kion, dog. How delightfully irreverent, and yet the fool still breathes. His blue flames are interesting." Sobek ripped a massive chunk of roasted meat from a platter with his jaws, blood and juices running down his scaled chin. "I wanted to eat that bronze oaf. He would have made a fine meal. Instead, he falls on his own club like a tragic actor in one of their pathetic morality plays. Pathetic." Isis Tefnut trailed liquid fingers through the air, forming miniature illusory waves that crashed against one another. "The body fails so beautifully. The big tank killed his own brother to spare the dog the choice. Such loyalty, such magnificent stupidity, flesh turning on flesh, exactly as foretold on Hermon long ago." Thoth Machshava scratched notes furiously with his femur stylus. 10 rings concluded. 2 original sons defend their thrones, Thalorian and Titanor. The other 8 now ruled by new monstrosities, a fine harvest of corruption. The mind fails, the body fails, the spirit fails. The grand experiment collapses as the Watchers predicted. Amun-Ra raised a clawed hand for silence. "Let us review our new crop of would-be gods, shall we?" The scrying orb shifted, displaying each new king in turn with merciless clarity. Ring 1, Prince Thalorian. The favorite son's crustacean-like armor had fused permanently with his flesh. Massive claws flexed as he reviewed battle reports in his palace. He could no longer remove the armor, even if he wished. "Soon he will be more crab than Nephilim," Horus chuckled. Ring 10, King Titanor. The brutal enforcer reversed gravity on a practice dummy, smashing it into the ceiling. Metal objects flew toward and away from him uncontrollably. "His body is becoming a lodestone," Setek laughed. "Soon he won't be able to sit without crushing his own throne." Ring 2, King Euryphon of Tanaju bloodline. Soft-spoken and calculating, he mixed a poison that rotted a slave's flesh from within while the man screamed. His eyes darted at unseen threats. His mind fractures already, Thoth Makshava observed. Phantom enemies everywhere. Ring 3, King Sablion. Silent and methodical, his extra-armored limbs twitched permanently fused to his torso. He barely spoke. A silent monster, Isis Tefnut purred. How elegant in his grotesquerie. Ring 4, King Zephyrian. An aeromancer who coughed blood into a cloth after demonstrating his cutting gusts. His lungs were filling with toxic air from overuse. Ring 5, King Malachor. Pale and corpse-like, he drained life from a prisoner to heal a rotting patch on his arm. Undead thralls stood motionless behind him. Cheating death, Sobek grinned. Death always collects eventually. Ring 6, 8, and 9 followed in similar grotesque fashion, each new king displaying powers and visible mutations that delighted the Egyptian giants to no end. Finally, the orb showed Leon. The Tanaju king stood on the balcony of his new royal chambers in Ring 7, blue flames flickering along his arms as he stared toward the central palace. In his hand, he clutched a simple olive branch token. His lips moved in silent prayer. The giants fell momentarily quiet. Then Sobek exploded with laughter, spraying wine and blood across the table. Look at him. The dog prays. After winning a ring with fire and wings, he prays to the absent creator like a child clutching a toy. Amun-Ra's crystal growths flared. How precious! The body fails all around him. His own scars spread even now, and still he clings to hope. Pathetic. Horus leaned forward, eyes spinning faster. Yet there is something different about this one. The Watcher he calls Kion does not fully control him. There is another influence, a remnant spark. Remnant, Isis Tefnut hissed, her water-rippling skin shimmering with distaste. Those vermin beneath the pyramids and in hidden holes across the world, they multiply like rats despite our culls. Thoth Makshava tapped his tablet. Let them pray. Their creator remains silent while the Watchers speak. Power flows. Flesh fails. The tournament will be glorious. The giants raised their goblets in a mocking toast. To the new kings, Amun-Ra declared, may their flesh fail spectacularly for our entertainment. To the runt Poseidon, Sobek added, may his sons devour him as he deserves. To the blue flame dog, Horus laughed, may his wings burn him alive when the time comes. Their laughter shook the hall, booming outward across the night sky of Atlantis like thunder from false gods. Far beneath the pyramids in the Black Land, in a hidden chamber known only to the faithful. The air was cool and still. 24 white-robed figures knelt on the sand floor, old men, women, and a few wide-eyed children of the line of Seth. A single oil lamp burned low. The elder lifted his voice, steady despite the distant echoes of giant laughter that seemed to reach even here through hidden dimensional ways. O creator of all things visible and invisible, he whispered, the darkness grows thicker than ever before. The Watchers pervert your hidden dimensions. The Nephilim devour your children and mock your name with every breath. Yet we remember your promises to the line of Seth. The faithful remnant endures. Strengthen the one you have chosen in the west, the winged one who carries the token. Let not the mockery of false gods prevail. The flood draws near, but mercy remains for those who walk humbly with you. A single tear traced down the elder's weathered cheek and fell upon the sand. One of the younger members, a woman with fire in her eyes, spoke softly. We have heard whispers through the trade routes. The Tanaju king has taken Ring 7. He stands alone now, but he carries the token. He prays even as the giants laugh. The elder nodded slowly. Then the vision moves forward. One obedient man can topple empires of false gods. We pray without ceasing. Back in Ring 7, Leon stood on the balcony of his new royal chambers. The night wind carried the distant, booming laughter of the Egyptian giants. It rolled across the 10 rings like profane thunder. His blue scars glowed softly in the darkness, aching with phantom heat that spread further down his chest with every passing hour. The olive branch token felt warm against his skin. He whispered the same prayer the remnant uttered far away. Creator of heaven and earth, strengthen me. Let not their mockery prevail. The flood draws near. Mercy remains for the obedient. Judgment comes. Kion's voice tried to rise in response, but Leon gripped the token tighter. The laughter of false gods echoed in the distance, but the word of the Creator endured forever. All flesh is grass. The grass withers, but the word of the Creator endures forever. This has been an unabridged audio production of Before the Flood, The Fall of Atlantis, Interlude 2, Mockery of the Gods Redux, by Matson. All rights reserved by Matson, LLC. Copyright Matson, LLC 2026. If you enjoyed this production, please like, share, and subscribe. Available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Follow the author at Matson for updates. Links in the description.